Okay, so what if I told you that a single, incredibly simple framework could completely change your financial life? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're fixing the one thing that causes more stress than almost anything else: budgeting. We're going to break down a pain-free solution that completely, and I mean entirely, eliminates the guilt from spending your own money. Let's get into it. Look, here is a harsh reality that most financial gurus simply won't tell you. What if traditional budgets are literally designed to fail? I mean, for most people, just hearing the word budget triggers immediate dread, right? It sounds like a punishment. It sounds like this endless series of strict rules that just suck all the joy out of life. And hey, if that's exactly how you feel, trust me, you are not alone. Okay, let's dive into this. Traditional budgets basically try to turn normal, feeling humans into emotionless financial robots. On one extreme, it's all about total restriction. No coffee, no vacations, no fun whatsoever, just obsessively tracking every single penny. And sure, it feels highly productive for about, 2 weeks? But then reality hits. Real human behavior kicks in. You naturally want to enjoy your life. You get frustrated by the extreme restriction, you rebel against your own rules, and you eventually end up spending even more than you did before you started the budget. Which brings us to the actual problem here. Traditional budgeting is just the crash diet of finance. Most people think budgeting means aggressively tracking every single dollar, every latte, every quick snack, every streaming subscription. It sounds incredibly responsible on paper, but psychologically, it creates a massive problem. As humans, we absolutely despise feeling restricted. The exact moment something feels forbidden, it instantly becomes 10 times more tempting. It's literally the exact same psychology as crash dieting. You know the drill. You tell yourself you're only going to survive on boiled vegetables and water, you white-knuckle it for a week, and then what happens? You inevitably find yourself ordering a massive midnight pizza. Well, money works the exact same way. When a budget feels like a punishment, you will eventually abandon it. And you abandon it not because you're lazy, but because the system simply wasn't designed for real human behavior. So we need a pivot. We need a system that actually understands how humans operate in the real world. Thankfully, there is a widely successful, totally psychology-backed alternative that has survived for decades. It's helped millions of people take total control of their money without sacrificing their happiness. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. And here is exactly how it works. Every dollar you earn after taxes gets divided into just 3 simple categories. 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes to future you. That's literally it. A method that brilliantly plans for your happiness today while completely securing your future tomorrow. Let's break these down, starting with the biggest slice, your needs. This is 50% of your after-tax income. These are the absolute, non-negotiable, essential expenses you must pay just to live and work. We're looking at things like your rent or mortgage, basic utilities, groceries, transportation to get to your job, insurance, and the minimum payments on any debt you might have. A really good rule of thumb here is this: if losing the expense would seriously disrupt your life, it's a need. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this is where traditional budgets completely fall apart, but it's exactly where the 50-30-20 rule shines. The 30% category, wants. This system actively gives you permission to enjoy your money. Think about that. 30% of your income is entirely dedicated to dining out, streaming services, vacations, shopping, your hobbies. It is your dedicated life enjoyment fund. And this right here is the magic of the whole framework. Instead of pretending you'll never spend on fun, which, let's be honest, is a total lie we all tell ourselves when we try to budget strictly, this system intentionally plans for it. It completely removes the guilt from buying that morning coffee or taking a weekend trip with your friends. You aren't breaking the rules by having fun. You are literally following the plan. Finally, we have the last slice, 20% for future you. This money goes directly toward improving your financial future. This includes building your emergency funds, contributing to retirement accounts, investing in the stock market, or paying off debt above the minimum payments. Think of this category as paying yourself first. Why? Because every single dollar you invest today buys you freedom tomorrow. Now, abstract math is great and all, but let's apply this to a practical, real-life scenario to see how this actually changes a bank account. Because honestly, this is where things get really exciting. Let's imagine a young professional named Sarah. Now, Sarah brings home exactly $4,000 per month after taxes. This is the actual tangible cash hitting her checking account every single month. Let's run her income through the 50-30-20 framework and see what happens. Here is Sarah's monthly allocation. For her needs, at 50%, she has $2,000 to cover rent, groceries, and transport. For her wants, at 30%, she has $1,200. And for future you, at 20%, she invests $800. Seeing these exact numbers mapped out proves an absolutely incredible point. Budgeting does not equal starvation. I mean, just look at that middle number. Sarah isn't forced to eliminate fun spending. She has $1,200 allocated specifically for enjoyment every single month. Let that sink in for a second. Over $1,000 dedicated to guilt-free fun. No guilt, no stress, no updating endless color-coded spreadsheets every time she buys a sandwich. Just a clear, highly effective structure. And that brings us to exactly why this framework radically outperforms strict, rigid rules over the long term. The secret here isn't mathematics at all. The secret is psychology. Most financial advice hyper-focuses on deprivation, right? Stop doing this, stop buying that. But the 50-30-20 rule, it focuses entirely on balance. It creates something incredibly powerful. Freedom with boundaries. You can buy the coffee, you can take the vacations, you can fund your expensive hobbies, but only within the portion specifically designed for those wants. This one concept is the true secret sauce of this entire explainer. Because when we look at the extremes, they both fail. On one hand, too much freedom always leads to overspending and massive financial anxiety when the bills come due. On the other hand, too many restrictions lead to extreme burnout, resentment, and giving up entirely. The 50-30-20 rule sits perfectly in the sustainable middle ground. It's the ultimate sweet spot. That is exactly why so many people find themselves sticking with this system for years rather than abandoning it after 3 weeks. And in personal finance, consistency matters far more than perfection. Wealth is not built by having one flawless, absolutely perfect month where you spend nothing. Nope. It's built by making hundreds of reasonably good decisions repeated consistently over time. Now, we do have to acknowledge reality here. Life isn't always perfectly neat, and the economy certainly isn't the same everywhere. If you live in an incredibly expensive city like New York or London, your housing costs alone might consume way more than 50% of your income. So, does the rule just break? Not at all. So the crucial point is that the exact percentages aren't completely sacred. It is completely okay to adapt them to your local housing market or your specific income level. Some people might need to use a 60-20-20 split, or maybe 70-15-15, or even 55-25-20. You have the total flexibility to adjust the math to fit your actual reality. But while the exact numbers can flex, the core framework remains absolute. The unbreakable principles are that your spending must always cover these three fundamental things: your essential living expenses, your enjoyment of life today, and your wealth building for tomorrow. As long as you are actively balancing those three priorities, you are moving in the right direction and securing your financial future. Listen, the biggest myth in personal finance is that budgeting has to feel painful. It simply doesn't. You don't have to suffer to build wealth. You don't have to deprive yourself of everything you love just to be financially responsible. You can budget without guilt, and you can take total control of your financial destiny starting today. Always remember this: the best budget isn't the strictest one. It's the one you'll actually follow. Financial success is just about giving every single dollar a purpose. When you give your money a job, whether that job is paying rent, buying a coffee, or investing in an index fund, money stops being a source of stress and punishment and instead becomes a powerful tool for building the exact life you want. By balancing your needs, wants, and future goals, you can truly enjoy life today while still building massive wealth for tomorrow. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. I want you to immediately reevaluate your own habits. Look at your last month of spending and honestly ask yourself, is your money currently working for you or against you?